It sure has been a tough time recently. I mean, of course, there's the pandemic, the ongoing loss of biodiversity and decreasing wildlife numbers, ravaging climate change-induced storms and wildfires, and the suffering experienced by people in their communities the world over. The list of hardship is long, and it cuts straight through to our hearts, for it also includes the devastating fire last April at Foster Parrots, where so many lives perished. You sometimes feel on the point of despair. It's natural. I get there sometimes too. It's a hard place. It hurts. And you want to get out of that mood as soon as you can, don't you? I mean, it's just not comfortable. We want to be productive and be present to others and to this beautiful life. We can regret when we sink away from our lives and from others. The character Legolas in the movie Lord of the Rings, he did so. The coming day, the enemy hordes would soon be upon them, and they were facing a battle they could not win. Legolas took out his anxiety and fear on Aragorn, blaming his leadership for taking the innocent into certain death. But sometime during the night, Legolas had a reckoning, and he apologized to Aragorn the next day and said, "It was wrong of me to despair." I want to say to Legolas and to you, it's not wrong to despair. We have to mourn, and we have to mourn together. But perhaps the invitation is to not stay in that space, but to wrestle with the discomfort, to find the glory. To stay there is to give false witness to reality, to be persuaded that the hard parts of life are everything. It's a perversion of existence to dwell upon only one aspect of reality. But we can get sucked into the overwhelming and faltering perspectives because the loss can be so very painful. Let us return to the Lord of the Rings, where Gandalf the wizard has just fallen into the abyss and died. His brave companions barely escape, and they come out of the mines of Moria, and the hobbits collapse on the ground sobbing. And Aragorn points to the hobbits and says, "We have to go, we have to go. The violent enemies seeking to destroy us are close." And Aragorn commands them to get up. Another points to the hobbit and says, "How can you expect them to go on without hope?" And Aragorn replies, "Then we should just have to go on without hope." Whew, yikes, that's hard news. Indeed, and it's so true. In conservation and earth stewardship, we have to go on without hope. However, there's a corollary to this truth. Though there might not be hope, there's the ever-present possibility of beauty all around us and the possibility of love and connection. We go on refusing to only see what a mirror shows us, which is human hubris and the projections of our internally, culturally constructed and constricted worldview. The earth is not a mirror, just as parrots do not just mimic human speech. If we would just listen, we could hear what life is really saying to us. Let us listen for a moment. Let us take a deep breath. Feel your heart. Listen to your breath and the shuffling of people around you. The human body is a flowing miracle, a community of billions and billions upon species living together as cells who are cooperating and who have given their DNA to bring this unique nexus of yourself into being. And now look outward now and ponder the universe. We are so unique on this planet and so minuscule. There's more that can ever be seen, felt, loved, be in awe of, to be sad over. Wonder is infinite. Our work as conservationists and animal caretakers is to expand our awareness of this interconnecting beauty and tragedy inherent in existence so we can be present, engaged, and be in love. This task lends an understanding of conservation as being a mindfulness practice. Even though there is loss, there is a lot of that in our calling. There is loss, but there is also beauty and love. Other mindfulness practices emphasize how to be present to the tragedy and the hard parts of life and to everything and to the difficult feelings so we can respond to what life is truly asking of us. This means coming to terms with death as part of life. In this way, conservation contains opportunities to practice the letting go of outcomes and to live fully in the present moment. With all the uncertainty and challenges that we face in preserving the splendor of life on this planet, it's like a death chant. We're preparing the way for acceptance of what seems like senseless loss and loss of what is precious and beautiful. In this case, the conservationist death chant is not repeating, how shall we go on without hope? But instead we ask different questions, like in the song by Gene Keller in his song, Parrot Girl. The questions we might ask instead are, how much love do you need? How much love can you see? How much love will set you free? And how much love can you be? People began to ask these kinds of questions during the pandemic and turned to birds for the answers. Bird watching soared. We turned to them for beauty and hope and out of love. But bird watching is not always about feeling good, for if we really observed birds, we would see that their lives are tellers of suffering. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here. You know the lessons of life that birds teach us. They tell us that there's not such a big difference between humans and other species and between individuals. Birds too have pandemics and mourn. During the West Nile virus some 15 years ago in North America, over 2/3 of crows were lost and died to this virus. The crows mourned. They changed. They experienced social and individual trauma. These are the conclusions that scientists came to after studying them during this time. Females didn't disperse as much from their biological families and territories shrunk. Birds were reluctant to try new things. Crows normally move as small family groups, but these were torn asunder. They forged new families, such as adults taking care of chicks from another pair. Does this response to the pandemic or to loss in your life seem familiar? Birds offer us a chance to share the deep ache within us and look squarely at death. Conservation and naming care are at times onerous spiritual practices, but they connect us to an ever greater sense of reality, to wonder and beauty. I'm not saying that all this hard work, that all will end well. I don't know how much choice we might actually have. I don't think any of us have this figured out, such as in the hero in the movie, The Thin Red Line. He was a soldier on a Pacific island during World War II, and bombs were falling, and they hit a tree with a parrot nest in it. And a young chick fell to the ground and was struggling and was dying. And as he watched the final struggle of the parrot, he mused. One man looks at a dying bird and sees nothing but unanswered pain, that death's got the final word. It's laughing at him. Another man sees the same bird, feels the glory, feels something smiling through it. By being with birds, we can see our fragility, and yet enduring connection to the reality that pain and loss cannot be avoided and neither can love. In that reckoning of both tragedy and beauty lies the path to freedom. It's a difficult journey, but it is graced with one love, one heart, one earth. As Bob Marley says in his song, One Love, let's get together and it'll be all right. Getting together is right. Thank you for being here and helping us all fly free.